Pasadena, California, the Rose Bowl. Another spectacular picture postcard scene from the Columbia as she circles the 1981 Rose Bowl here in Pasadena, California. 104,863 fans. Another big sellout crowd at the Granddaddy. Michigan's ball. And it is Edwards again to the 38-yard line. Rusty Olson with a tackle. It'll be third and a short 3. Well, imagine right about now, Merlin, Don Crickey, John Brody, Bob Trumpy are watching the players on the field down at the Orange Bowl in Miami, where second-ranked Seminoles meet the fourth-rated Oklahoma Sooners. There's another game with more than just football, the pageantry of that event.
Having had a chance to do that game a few times, I certainly would agree with you there.
Stay tuned. The Orange Bowl to follow here on NBC. Wangler tipped and almost intercepted. McLean, 47, got his hand on the ball. And that'll force Michigan into a punting situation. Anthony Carter was the intended receiver. Bo Schembechler, his team leads 17-6. He's never been closer to a Rose Bowl win. He has lost 10-3 to Michigan in 1970, 13-12 to Stanford in 72, 14-6 to Michigan in 77, 27-20 to this Washington team in 78, and 17-10 to USC 2 years ago.
They'll try and block it.
Oh, very close. A line drive kick and a good bounce again for Bracken, although it hit the sidelines at the 16-yard line. Well, the hang glider did attract a crowd, a few policemen around. There was a rumor that that gentleman was going to try to fly right into the Rose Bowl and land on the field. And they were waiting for it. Now it's Washington's turn to try to spur the Huskies.
They've got to wonder if Don James won't pull out all the stops here and go into his bag of tricks. He hasn't really done that too much here in the early part of this game, even in the third quarter here.
We open the fourth quarter. He trails, does Washington, 17-6. Flick pumping and going long to Williams. That's going to be intercepted. Bostock. Keith Bostock all the way to the 14-yard line, but a flag is down.
You saw the reaction of the Michigan coaches up in the box up here. Coach Schembechler not too excited about it himself. Bostock doing an excellent job of reading the receiver. They're not going to let him deep. The ball thrown over the head of the intended receiver, Williams, and Keith Bostock doing a good job. Penalty thrown. It's already been thrown. We did not get a chance to see it there, but it's going to be marked back. I'm sure it was a clipping call.
All the way to the 28-yard line, the penalty.
Clipping on the run back. First down.
In fairness to Tom Flick, I thought Aaron Williams gave up on the pattern. He stopped running, and Flick was counting on him streaking. And that might have been more Williams' fault. See, he slowed down.
He's got to continue the pattern. The quarterback has to believe that his receivers are going to run the route out. And you're absolutely right, Dick. As much as anything, his stopping caused the interception.
Keith Bostock, nevertheless, with the interception. Michigan with the ball. Wolfuck. That's good news. He's back in the game. Mark Giroux, who has been outstanding for Washington defensively, the junior from Mercer Island, Washington, made another tackle. But Wolfuck's okay, and that will gladden the hearts of the Michigan fans.
Well, he may have indeed had a cramp. That was what I had felt early. You see, Bo Schembechler, a very emotional coach, a bulldog of a man, determined to win. He passes that feeling on to his team and on to his staff.
Play action. Wangler in trouble. That should be grounding. It is. The Washington fans cheer. Gagliardi made the play, intentionally grounding against Wangler.
That will be marked off from the spot of the grounding, too. That's a costly penalty.
So Michigan in a reverse action after the interception by Bostic.
Deliberately grounding the ball. Loss of down.
Not only penalty from the spot of the foul, but loss of down.
Wangler, obviously given a chance again, would not throw that late pass.
Didn't have a chance. Now to the 10-yard line, third down, and about 27-28. Up the middle, Wolford breaking tackle. First down, Wolford. 35 yards.
Some of the bad breaks that have gone against Bo Schembechler have turned back in his favor. What appeared to be a play just to kind of grind up some clock here turns into a tremendous gainer. Big run by Butch Wolford. And he just breaks loose and accelerates into the secondary, picks up all that yardage and a little bit more.
Fellow that left the field, and some concern as to his injury. He's obviously okay and battling back in and making the longest run of the day. Mark Giroux, another tackle for the University of Washington on Stan Edwards. Oh, he's just worn Edwards' number all day.
You look up at the clock ticking away at 12:41, 12:40.
Our brother, here's the family. The cheer, Michigan's number 57. Tim Anderson, a linebacker from Ann Arbor, freshman. Wangler open. Norm Betts, and the tight end is to the Washington 46, and that's close to a first down. 12 minutes and 18 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Michigan leads Washington 17-6, and the Wolverine defense again has not allowed a touchdown. They were last scored upon a touchdown by Illinois in the second quarter. That was now more than 5 games ago. They shut out Illinois the second half. They went on to shut out, in terms of touchdowns, Indiana, Wisconsin, Purdue. Ohio State got only a field goal, and they've allowed only 2 field goals today. Close, and I don't believe he made the first down as Ray Kadich, number 61, a sophomore, who moves into the line in short yardage as a 4-man defensive front, and he stopped Rick's Cole.
It's impressive to me that this Washington bunch has not quit at all yet. Rusty Olson, number 64, 67 Giroux, 61 Kadich, all aggressively into the backfield, making that play. Michigan has to kick it away.
Loss of a yard on 4th and 2. Bracken to punt. Or is he?
Now they're trying to draw him off sides. Look at that, 68. They're going to draw the penalty for too much time finally.
Well, but with a lead of 17-6, they chewed up some extra time, and with Bracken's foot, he doesn't mind the 5 yards.
What they did, Dick, they normally go from a 2-point position on the punt, and they drop down to a 3-point stance, hoping to draw the Washington Huskies offside. It did not work, and I guess they just figured to take the time and take their penalty. A good kicker really can kick almost as effectively 5 yards back from this position on the field. He can just kick it loose and kick it for the end zone.
This is the 35th game, as we mentioned, between the Pac-10 and Big Ten, and after the Big Ten just ran off to a huge early lead in the series, the decade of the 70s belonged to the Pac-10. Only one Big Ten team won, Ohio State, in the 70s. So you can imagine that Midwest really rooting for Michigan today. The overall series 18-16, and Bracken hits a beauty. Horton at the 7. He's being covered well. And stopped at the 11, and a flag is down. Beautiful 45-yard kick from the freshman from Thermopolis, Wyoming, Don Bracken. His 42-yard average, a Michigan season record this year.
Kenny Gardner had positioned himself on this side of the field and headed back. I think there was a reverse in the mind for the Washington troops, but because of that high, lazy kick and excellent coverage, they were unable to get it off.
While Michigan's band leads the celebration, and it's really good cause with Wolverines dominating play in the second half. Let's not lose sight of the fact that that clock shows 11 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. And Tom Flick showed us in the first half he can move the team quickly.
He's going to have to start deep in his own end. A penalty has taken that ball back to about the 3-yard line.
They do not announce the numbers of the athletes committing the fouls in collegiate football. Timeout. Washington from its own 3-yard line will start with 11 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in this Rose Bowl game. Literally millions of those decorating the parade route in that glorious affair this morning here in Pasadena. And now it's Michigan who wants to smell the fragrance. They've got Washington back at their own 3-yard line. Wolverines lead 17-6. And they surround the ball at the 4-yard line. Kyle Stevens, very little room to run.
I tell you, those Wolverines are getting tough. I think they sense the victory in their grasp. 10:51, 10:50. They can pin Washington here, get the ball back, and eat some more of the clock with their running game. They can make it awfully tough on Don James and his Huskies.
And we'll keep our eyes on that clock. 10:39, 10:38, 10:37 left, fourth quarter. Sun setting behind the mountains. Lights are on at the Rose Bowl. Neibauer, one of the tight ends in motion. It's Tyler. Tyler to the 22-yard line and a first down. Toussaint Tyler. 19-yard gallop. Let's see if Flick takes to the air. Jackson and Bodie made the tackle in the Michigan defense.
Well, they needed a little room to operate. They now have that. Extra defensive back heading into the secondary for the Wolverines. They're expecting the pass here.
Flick incomplete to Tyler, but he had to hurry his throw as pressure was coming.
Robert Thompson, 99, blitzing in there. And in the early part of this game, the Washington offensive line and backs picking up the blitz effectively, having a little trouble doing it here.
And that is not one of the trademarks of the Michigan team to blitz on first down. They rarely do it, so that was a little surprise Bo had in store with a lead through that card.
I think Bo's pulled the stops in this one. 2nd
and 10. 5 defensive backs in for Michigan. Jeff Reeves, number 43, joining the other 4. Flick. Good protection. Scansey, no good. He trapped the ball. Tremendous effort, but trapped the ball.
Scansey does not have blazing speed, but he has excellent hands and runs a fine pattern. And this is one of the few passes that Flick has thrown badly all day. Just comes up a little short with the pass, unable to get it into the hands of his receiver.
Just missed. That ball and hands and grass all connecting. Incomplete. 9:57 left. Now a big 3rd and 10 for Flick. Almost intercepted. Broken up by Paul Gergish, the sophomore from Lakewood, Ohio. So Michigan's defense gets a standing ovation. Paul Gergish. He is the strongest Wolverine at 6'1" and 205. He can bench press more than twice his weight. Carter is deep at the Michigan 40. It's returnable or not? No, late fair catch at the 38-yard line. Michigan's ball. The Wolverines now would like nothing more than a long, sustained, time-consuming drive. 9:45 left. Michigan 17, Washington 6. Stay tuned for that Orange Bowl Classic, and for all of us at NBC Sports, so many of our friends starting the new year, and tonight, especially on the West Coast, Marie, that lovely young Osmond, and her marvelous show. Happy New Year to Johnny Carson, Freddie DeCordova, and all the Tonight crew.
Ed McMahon, our good friend.
You bet. We hope you'll stay with us here on NBC, of course, for our football coverage. Butch Wolford, one of the few times he has not gained as Rusty Olson. That's not a bad name for a football player, Olson, and he's played well.
Well, he has played very well, as has number 67, Mark Giroux. Very quickly around George Lilja, throws him to the ground, puts himself back in line to get some popping. You see the emotion there. I don't know if I'd want to pick on one of those 6'7", 280-pound tackles, though.
Ed Moransky. Old Mark Giroux showed good brain power there, quick thinking.
You got to be selective.
Carter in motion. He's got running room. Anthony Carter to the Washington 43. Great block by Stan Edwards.
Dick, at the very beginning of this day, we talked about 3 impressive things on this Michigan team. Their defense, which has been most impressive, especially in this second half. The second thing, we'll hold for a second because there's the third thing right there. Number 1, Anthony Carter. I said he was the most exciting player on the field, and he's proved to you why in this second half. Washington did a good job of containing him in the first half. They haven't been able to accomplish that here in the second half.
Well, they've dipped into the new jersey. They've got about 10 more of those left, the tearaway jerseys. That's why they don't put Carter on the back, because it makes it so much more expensive. Edwards almost fumbled. He's to the 38-yard line, and that's another key to this game, Merlin, because Washington averaging so many fumbles per game during the course of the year. They've not forced Michigan to cough the ball up.
Well, and the other thing that we talked about early on the Michigan side was their big offensive line. And I said then that it probably would pay bigger dividends at the end of the game. The Washington defense has been on the field so much this half that they're getting tired, and that physical advantage is really beginning to tell.
2nd and 5. Carter in motion again. Now they give it back to Ricks, and he burrows to the 35. He'll be 3 yards short of the first down. Rusty Olson and Ken Driscoll made the tackle. Rusty Olson, but his number isn't quite right for an Olson. He's wearing 64. You wore 74.
Well, maybe he couldn't find 74 when he got there. Maybe somebody else was wearing it. You got to put your head in the defensive huddle with those Washington Huskies. They need a turnover right here. They've been effective at doing that during the season. They'd love to get an interception or a fumble. Get a turnaround here.
Big play on 3rd and 3. And Wangler to Carter. Anthony Carter literally shut out in the first half. He has owned the second half.
Well, there's a great saying, class will tell. And the class of this man, Anthony Carter, has certainly emerged here in the second half. He goes up to catch the ball, takes a real shot right there from Ray Horton, and he's not going to give it back to anybody. And a fine pass from John Wangler. Wangler doing a superb job of throwing here in the second half.
Boy, great run of replays. Larry Cirillo, our producer, Eric Coyle, the director, Butch Wolford to the 15-yard line. Our executive producer, Don Ohlmeyer. Well, we're pleased to have had the opportunity to call another Rose Bowl classic. Anthony Carter, Merlin, second half after being shut out in the first half. 5 catches, 68 yards, a touchdown, plus a couple of long runs. And what he did, even though he didn't catch the ball in the first half, who knows how many men he tied up covering him, so that left other people open.
That's been the pattern in many games for Michigan this year. He's been as much a decoy, an effective decoy, as he has been performer.
First down at the Washington 16. Wolford to the 10, and that power of the Michigan line just shoving Washington back. 6:30 left, and Don James running out of time. He can ill afford for Michigan to score a touchdown here. A field goal would make it 20-6 and keep Washington within 2 touchdowns, but a touchdown would make it almost impossible.
Just watching that Michigan offensive line, I can tell you this, they didn't earn all those Big Ten honors just by being big. They're playing excellent football.
Ball at the 9-yard line. It's 3rd and 2. Very important play again. Carter. They can't catch him. He's got a, well, it's going to be close. He's going to be very close. Ken Gardner, 29, came up with a very sharp tackle at the 7, and that's where Carter had to go.
The one danger of this kind of play is timing. The snap is early. The ball is actually thrown back to Carter. He actually has to go 2 or 3 yards to catch up to the point that the snap should have been made. He's late getting there, but his speed still allows him to get very close to the first down.
It is not a first down by inches. What do you do?
You take a timeout. Bo is signaling on the sideline. Timeout.
Bo Schembechler, a product of that fine football. There's his assistant coaches. Barberton, Ohio is Bo's hometown. Interestingly, Don James grew up in Massillon. They're the same age, 48. They're only 25 miles apart. They can't quite figure out whether or not they ever played against each other in high school. They both coached the course in the Mid-American Conference. Kent State for Don James, Miami of Ohio for Bo Schembechler, and now they meet again in the Rose Bowl for the second time. Their paths have crossed so many times. In fact, James was once an assistant coach at Michigan. Timeout, 5:38 left. It was my pleasure to cover that World Figure Skating, Professional Figure Skating Championship that will appear on 7 weekends here on NBC, and don't miss it. If you love beauty and elegance, ballet and acrobatics, that's for you. They're going to go for it on 4th down and inches. Edwards, he's got it. First down and goal for Michigan. And not only the fans, but now the Michigan players begin to smell victory.
You saw the effectiveness again of the decoy capabilities of Anthony Carter. He started across, and Michigan's defense had to see him coming. They didn't even fake to him. They just headed it up inside. But I'm sure his movement across the field had an impact on that defense.
Michigan on another long drive as time runs out. Edwards carrying Washington tacklers with him to the 3-yard line. Fletcher Jenkins and Ray Kadich. It's 2nd and goal. The Huskies, you'll recall at halftime, had a 2-to-1 edge in offense. Michigan not only has caught them, but surpassed that total. At the half, Washington had 269 yards. Michigan only 133. So it has been a dominant Wolverine offense in the second half. They've out first down Washington 13-3 as an indicator. Injured Jerry McLean is down for Washington. Fortunately, it's been a game free of most injuries.
Dick, we ought to pass a couple of bouquets along to a couple of Bo's coaches, Gary Moeller, offensive coordinator, and Bill McCartney, the defensive coordinator.
You hear the chanting of the maize and blue Michigan crowd, led by their fine band. The Wolverines are on the doorstep again at the 3 of Washington. 2nd and goal with Michigan in front, 17-6. 5 minutes left. This is the 11th play of this drive. Carter in motion. Wolfak stopped at the 2, and quite a hit. Ray Kadich has played very well in the second half. Number 61 of Washington with Mark Stewart, 38, helping out.
Watch the pop here. We could hear this one all the way up here in the stands. That's Kenny Driscoll, number 40. He really put his helmet into the chest of Wolfak coming in.
3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. Again, Carter in motion. Wangler going to run it. Didn't make it, but close. He stopped at the 1-yard line by Kadich. Helped out by Steve Pope, 49, playing for the injured Jerry McLean. 4th and 1.
Interesting note on Wangler. Bo has not allowed him to be tackled a single time in practice this entire year. Here he is running the football. Give you an idea how important this game is to John Wangler.
I think there might have been something else there. It was Bo's way of saying to Wangler, you bow out with a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. You deserved it. We didn't think we'd have you in the first place. 4th and goal at the 1-yard line with 4 minutes and 5 seconds left. Anthony Carter. I mean, how many you can do a whole game of ad libs about Carter. One of the interesting notes on him is the fact that Bo Schembechler obviously has such a love affair with this kid that the players kiddingly have tabbed Carter with a nickname Shemmy, as in young Schembechler. And Carter has taken it well. He prefers the nickname Snake, and somehow that really fits his style.
Well, this game certainly has reverted to the kind of script that Bo Schembechler would have written for it. The Wolverines have played stubborn and tough defense, and they've come back to dominate the game with their running attack. They've really played precise ball control offense in this second half. Drives of 83 yards, 83 yards. Both of those ended up in touchdowns, and this drive is well into the 60s already.
Doesn't figure they'd go for the field goal because that would still leave Washington within 2 touchdowns of victory with a 2-point extra point. If they miss scoring a touchdown, they still leave Washington on the 1-yard line, and they've got so much farther to go. A field goal allows Washington to take a kick, and you can break a long one in that open field running. So Michigan's going to go for it. Carter is to the left. 4th and goal at the 1. Ups offside, but Wangler really did move back and drew the team offside. Let's see against whom the penalty is called. Wangler gave a little more than sound. He pulled back, but they're calling it on Washington.
A very emotional response from Anthony Carter, and I'm sure they were triggering. They were counting on the fact that the Washington Huskies were going to be dug in, that they were going to be trembling. Very often it's difficult to control that surge.
It appeared that Wangler really pulled backward off center without the snap arriving, and that helped the Huskies offside. It's about a 2-inch penalty. 4th and goal again. Edwards, touchdown. And that should seal it up. Stan Edwards. The final line of that Michigan fight song is "Hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the West." And finally, for Bo Schembechler in the West, he's found that victory.
Well, not only for Bo, but all of his players have suffered through with him, and they've been asked the question, what is wrong with Michigan? Why can't you win the big ones in the final games, in the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl? They won't have to answer that question this year, Dick.
Haji Sheikh hooks it wide, no good, but it matters not with 4:02 left. Michigan has a 23-6 lead, and Don James needs not one, but a basket full of miracles to come back in so short a time. Bo Schembechler. Here's that last touchdown, and Edwards barely made it.
It was a very close surge there. Tremendous defensive play by Washington. And I guess he was just suspended there over the goal line. 38, Mark Stewart. Mark's had an outstanding day for the defense. I'm sure it's got to be a painful and frustrating day for them. You talk about losing is never happy. But for a team that fought as hard and certainly played outstanding football through the first part of this game and has not quit in the second part of this game, it's got to be a bitter pill for Washington.
They've played well, however, even though they've scored but 6 against this Michigan team. They had their opportunities in the first half. Aaron Williams will take the touchback. Just a review for those of you who joined us late. Washington 3 times in the first half marched inside the Michigan 20-yard line with a first down, only to score 1 field goal. And that well could be the difference. And I'm sure the fans in the great Northwest could bemoan their fate. They'd say, hey, early in the game on 4th and 1, one official signaled touchdown, and it wasn't ruled a touchdown. The other official said he was stopped short. The same play just occurred at the other end, and Edwards just made it in. There's a 14-point swing there, and of course the debate will go on through the winter. First down at the 20 with 4:02 left. Tom Fleck Complete. Anthony Allen out to the 43-yard line. Michigan, of course, playing a safe, loose pass defense. While you've seen the happiness on the Michigan sidelines, for the Huskies, they know a long day is about to come to an end.
Well, it's not over yet. They've still got a chance to maybe put another touchdown, maybe even two if they can get an onside kick. Flick has really been an effective passer today, although his passing has been limited. His opportunities have been limited by the Michigan defense here in the second half.
Kyle Stevens in motion. Good protection. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Aaron Williams, the intended target, but one of the Michigan linemen got a hand on that one.
One of the things I noticed about Flick in his passing drills, he tends to throw the ball a bit low at times. Get a chance to get your hands up on it. That's what happened on that particular play.
To Bill Nicholas and all the people that have helped us on the Rose Bowl committee, and for all of the outstanding officials of the Tournament of Roses, our thanks from NBC Sports for your warm cooperation and friendship. It's been another delightful day for us. Flick throwing, he's got a man open. Aaron Williams, and he's out of bounds at the Michigan 31-yard line. And this is the kind of ball movement that Washington showed in the first quarter, but could only get 3 points out of 3 long drives. Tony Jackson made the tackle. That's the first catch for Williams. It goes 27 yards.
Good little move to freeze the defensive backs, although they're being told right now, don't let anyone behind you. And they will trade yardage for time. They're looking up at the clock, 3:35. They know what their score is, and they'll even give a touchdown if they have to, but they want that clock going.
Well, they have another thing going, though. They'd like not to give up that touchdown. Incomplete at the 25. Stops the clock at 3:31. They're trying to make it 5.5 games without allowing a touchdown. And again, they allowed only 3 touchdown passes all year. That's a remarkable.
Well, we haven't had one today either. Even as well as Flick has played and all the yardage that he's accumulated, he has not gotten the ball into the end zone for a touchdown, either by passing or running.
We've had so much help in the booth today, and we'll acknowledge it later. Here's a statistic. Michigan has not allowed a touchdown in 330 minutes and 6 seconds.
Okay.
The toss to Bale, and he falls at the 26, short yardage. Washington does not need that kind of yardage. Clock is running. Robert Thompson, 99, is still in the backfield of Washington.
Third down, about 6 yards to go. Clock is running. 3:08, 3:07.
Flick has thrown the ball, Merlin, 38 times, completed 22. Less than 3 minutes left. Ball at the Michigan 27. Scansey. Oh, a tough catch in traffic, but I don't think
he's got enough.
I don't either.
He was very close to it, but very alert defensive play back there. 2 defenders right on top of him. I think they shut him down short of it.
Jeff Reeves on the tackle. The clock will continue to run. 4th and 1.
Watch Scansey coming in right there. He's tackled the second he gets that ball. Geargash, one of the defenders, puts a hook on him. 4th and about half a yard to go there.
If they don't make it, the game will be in Michigan's hands. They can just run out the clock. Williams right. Stevens breaks a tackle of Cannavino, has a first down at the Michigan 18-yard line. I'd like to thank the men who have helped us in our booth. The player identification, Dennis Mnuchin, Chuck Panama, Rick Bay of the University of Michigan, and Hugh Grew from the University of Washington. Thank you all. And for our master statistician, Joe Costanza, his assistants, Jack Prote and Arthur Hoffman. 23-6. Sun setting on the University of Washington's hopes, and for Bo Schembechler, it'll be daylight for a long, long time. 2:11 left. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen at the famed Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Kyle Stevens, who carried for the first down, helped off the field, a senior from San Jose, California, playing in his final collegiate game for the University of Washington. And the Wolverines and the Huskies, expressions tell it all.
And of course, Toussaint Tyler to tailback, Dick.
First down at the Michigan 17. Flick looking into the end zone. Lost the ball. Robert Thompson took it right out of his pocket. The ball, though, is whistled dead. Thompson goes into the end zone. It'll come back to the 31-yard line at the point where the fumble occurred. You cannot run with a fumble in college football.
They wait a little bit of time, gets to the pros. Maybe he can do that. Pick it up and take off.
70 yards for the exercise. Matt, he'll tell us, grandchildren, all about that run.
Well, we talked about his speed earlier. It's certainly apparent on that play. Not only the speed he used getting to the end zone, but the kind of speed he used to get in and shake that football loose.
But it is a fumble and not a pass incomplete, and Michigan has the ball, and now they can more openly celebrate with 2 minutes exactly left. They have the ball in a 23-6 lead. The Toyota outstanding players of today's Rose Bowl game are, for the University of Michigan, Butch Wolthick, and for the University of Washington, Mark Giroux. Each outstanding player will receive a special Toyota trophy in honor of his achievements in today's game. In addition, Toyota donates $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund of both the University of Washington, the University of Michigan, for participation in today's game. Congratulations, Butch Wolthick, Mark Giroux, and Wolthick has also officially been named the player of this game. He'll go down in the record books as the MVP of the 1981 Rose Bowl. Gained 182 yards. That's his counterpart, Stan Edwards. You know, of all of the introductions before the game today, and some of the folks missed them, weren't you impressed by Stanley Edwards? He basically said, if we could paraphrase, I want to thank everyone in my home city of Detroit to help me get as far along in life as I have. And he said, you're beautiful. He said it so well and in such rich sensitivity that you had to admire the quality of the man to thank back. It's Edwards again running out the clock. 1:23 left. And Washington exercises a timeout, or is that for the first down? It's for the first down. Edwards in his final game at the University of Michigan. He was the starter, as we said, as a freshman when Washington defeated this Michigan team. He gained 74 yards that day.
A lot of good football during this day, Dick. An awful lot of good football. And more to come.
More than the score would indicate. It was an entertaining game. Two outstanding teams and both obviously well coached. We're down to the 1 minute mark. Timeout has been called by the University of Michigan. 58 seconds left. 23-6. Michigan leads Washington here in the Rose Bowl. They're getting ready in the Orange Bowl. For a report, let's go to Don Criqui in Miami. Thank you, Don. Back at the Rose Bowl, new quarterback for the University of Michigan, Steve Smith. He gives to Larry Ricks, and Ricks powers to the Washington 45. Clock stopped for another Michigan first down. The executive producer of the 1981 Rose Bowl has been Don Ohlmeyer. The coordinating producer, Ted Nathanson. The telecast of this Rose Bowl has been produced by Larry Zerillo, directed by Harry Coyle, technical director Ray Figelski, associate producer Peter Rolfe, associate director Jim Marcioni, production manager Bob Gould, unit manager Angelica Marcus, and the production associate Rick Stern. Thank you all as Larry Ricks goes to the 40-yard line. 42, 41, 40 seconds. And the rest of the NBC Sports crew that have brought you this Rose Bowl game. Bo Schembechler allowing some of his reserves to finish out the game and hoping they'll have another opportunity. They come back to Pasadena. That's Kerry Smith, a freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And that well could be the final play of this game. 10, 8 as the crowd picks up the count. Bo Schembechler finally takes a victory ride in Pasadena. A Michigan team that battled to a 7-6 first half lead, although outgained 2-1 by the University of Washington, and the Wolverines, showing their superiority, dominated the game offensively with their strong ground attack in the second half to beat the University of Washington 23-6. And for the first time in 12 years at Michigan, Bo Schembechler will be able to think about his next year, the next 6-7 months before a new season begins, and sit in the comfort of knowing he won his last game the year previous. Hail to the victors! And congratulations even to those in defeat. You know, the beauty of this game, you talk to the players and the coaches beforehand, and to the man they say, this is the realization of a long-standing dream from the time that these players are kids. They watch the Rose Bowl and they say, someday maybe I can play in this big game. And now they've accomplished that. Some are winners and some are losers on the scoreboard, but the dream has been fulfilled. But for this man, he didn't want to wait another turn. There was no jinx. He said we just happened to lose 5 games between 1 and 7 points. And you just had a feeling from Schembechler, the way his attitude changed. There was a different man that came to Pasadena, that he was going to come here differently, and he was going to go home with a different feeling. Reminder, it's the Orange Bowl to follow, Oklahoma and Florida State from Miami. Now let's get a feeling from the coach, the players, from the victorious Washington team. Here's Merlin Olsen.
Coach Schembechler, finally it happened for you.
Right, and I've never been more pleased, Merlin. We've had a lot of great success in the Michigan football program, but we've never won this game since I've been there, and it's one of the greatest thrills of my life.
If it had happened again, if you had lost again, do you think you would have believed the talk about a jinx?
No, the jinx, there's no jinx here. We've always played hard. We've just come up a little bit short. This time we didn't. Thanks to some of these guys.
You had a little magic from number 1 there. Tell me how important he was to you today.
Anthony Carter has more effect on the game than any single player I've ever coached. And he may not look like it, and sometimes he's standing out there and nothing happens. But sooner or later he gets it.
Anthony, you were used as a decoy in much of the first half. In fact, you were shut out on the passing side of it. Did that bother you at all?
Well, no, it didn't, because we figured it was going to happen, you know. So we went in, in halftime and then said everything was going to come my way pretty soon. So we just, took it as it came.
You certainly more than made up for it in the second half. We were kind of surprised, not really surprised, but we watched you do some running from that position coming across. Did you enjoy being a ball carrier today?
Well, yeah, I did. Like Coach Bo said, I can do a lot of things, All I got to do is just get the ball.
We kept looking for you to throw a pass from that position. Was that something you might have done if this game had been a little closer?
Well, yeah, I supposed to throw the pass, but Stanley out, he couldn't get out in the flats in time. So Coach Bo told me, if I couldn't get the pass, just run it.
Actually, 2 of those were passes.
Yeah. 2 of them were passes, and he ran. Congratulations to you. A wonderful victory, and I'm sure you'll carry it proudly back to Michigan with you.
Thank you, Merlin. Thank you very much.
Let's go ahead.